it's Chandi. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be learning how to make this beautiful knitted baby blanket. Boop. This is great to make in the colors that the baby's mama is going with. You can do little stripes if you like. You can alter the size really easily. And it's pretty basic level. It's just a few different stitches. So even if you're a beginner, you can definitely make this. You'll need to know how to work the knit stitch and the purl stitch. So be very comfortable with both of those. If you aren't, you'll want to go check out my absolute beginner knitting and purling videos. And I slow all that down and show you how to do that. So get comfortable with those first. So here it is in all its glory. You can see the different colors. It's simple, but it's really elegant. And I think any baby would love to snuggle up in this soft, cuddly wonder. But this doesn't have to be just a baby blanket. You can make it any size you like, really. Any length, any width. It could be a gift for a friend or a king size throw for your bed or just anything you like. It doesn't have to be just for babies. In this example, we used 3 different colors of sport weight Luster Merino Tencel yarn. The reason I went with sport weight is because it's not too thick, so it's not going to create a super hot blanket, but it's not super thin, which means you aren't going to be spending 500 million years making it. So it's a good weight for baby stuff. I liked the colors. I thought they flowed well together. And the fiber content of this yarn is 50% superwash merino wool, which means it can be machine washed without shrinking like normal wool. And then 50% tencel, which gives it a lovely sheen, has a little bit of a shimmer, and it also adds to the longevity and wear so that as this gets used and tousled and washed and thrown around and all that, it's going to hold up well and last a really long time. So you'll need about 12 ounces of sport weight yarn. This is 4 ounces, so you're going to need 3 balls. Each one of these has about 395 yards. So 395 times 3, that's about what you're going to need. It'll be a little less, and it doesn't have to be specific. You can just kind of stop when you run out of yarn. You're also going to need size 6 needles, and they need to be long enough to hold all the stitches of the blanket at once. So these are 32 inches. You could probably squeeze them onto 24-inch ones, or you could use 40 inches. As long as they're long enough, you'll be good. If you don't know where to get these needles or the yarn or any of this stuff, you can get them on my website. I have these available for you. All kinds of colors of yarn. We add new ones all the time. And this card, which has the pattern all written out nice and tidy for you, so you can keep that with you. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The pattern says to cast on 175 stitches or an odd number. I'm going to cast on fewer and just make a mini version so that you're not sitting here watching me knit till the cows come home. Now we're going to work a slip knot. You want to leave enough tail yarn to cast on 175 stitches using the long tail cast on method. If you're not sure how long to leave your tail, a good rule of thumb is to leave an inch of tail per stitch that you need to work, and that should leave you plenty. So since I'm working a little tiny version today, that's enough. To do a slip knot, wrap it twice around your finger, pull this one over, then pull this one over that one, off, and then pop this onto your needle and cinch it up. When I'm working with thinner yarns like sport weight, fingering weight, or lace, I tension my yarn a little differently than normal. Normally I hold it just like this, but for thinner yarns, I wrap it once around my ring finger and then tuck my pointer finger underneath. It gives a little bit more tension on the yarn. That way I'm not gripping and getting tense and tight. So the pattern says cast on 175 stitches or an odd number. So if you want to adjust the width of your blanket and make it smaller or bigger, this is the time to do that. If you're unsure how many stitches to cast on, because you don't know exactly how wide it's going to end up being, you definitely want to get your gauge measurement. So cast on a few stitches, knit several rows, and then measure how many stitches per inch you're getting. When you know how many stitches per inch, then you can just multiply. Like, hey, I'm getting 5 stitches to the inch. I want it to be 40 inches wide. So there you go, you just multiply that out. So either way, you want to just make sure you have an odd number. All right. So rows 1 through 14, you're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, all the way across your rows. The goal is to end up with seed stitch, which I'll show you what that looks like, and not ribbing. It can get a little tricky, so just make sure you're ending up with seed stitch. Seed stitch looks like this. It's little alternating bumps. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. Repeat that all the way across. So when you end up with seed stitch, it's going to basically produce the border of your blanket. You're going to have a seed stitch border all the way around. The reason that seed stitch is so great for borders is because it lays flat. It has an even number of evenly dispersed knits and purls, so it lays flat. It's not going to curl. If you've ever ended up with your knitting curling, you might have been working stockinette stitch or a different kind of stitch. So seed stitch is really awesome. It's actually one of my favorite stitches. I love it. I love when a pattern calls for seed stitch. So continue your knit 1, purl 1 all the way across the row. Do that for 14 rows and then come back and we will keep going. Once you've worked your 14 rows, you'll have made this top section here, this gray area, and now we're going to switch to the next color. If you want to, you can keep working with the same color if you prefer. If you don't know how to change colors in your knitting, I have a video for you. You can go watch that. If you want a quick tip on how to do that, just leave about 5 to 6 inches of your first color hanging, cut that, and start working with your next color. When you get to the end and you have all your ends hanging, you're just going to weave them in to that same color and it'll all blend in and be beautiful. Row 15, now that you've switched to your new color, is going to be like this. You're going to knit 1 and then you're going to work purl 1, knit 1. Then repeat the purl 1, knit 1 6 more times. So that's creating your border. Then knit all the way across, however wide your blanket is, until you have 16 stitches remaining, and then purl 1, knit 1 to the end to create your border on the other side. So let me show you a condensed version of that. Begin with a knit 1, then work purl 1, knit 1. And you're going to repeat the purl 1, knit 1 6 more times on your blanket. I don't have enough stitches since I'm doing a little tiny one, but you'll repeat that 6 more times. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. 6 more times. Okay, then you're going to knit until you have 16 stitches remaining. Again, I don't have enough stitches, but just knit the entire width of your blanket, however wide it is. Knit, 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 until you have 16 stitches remaining. Then you're going to create your border on the other side by purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and you do that all the way to the end. And that's creating your seed stitch border on this side. We're now working this section. So we have the seed stitch border, which will be on both sides of your blanket, and the interior of the blanket will be stockinette stitch, which is on one row will be knitted, when you come back on the second row it's going to be purled. Knit, purl. Row 16 is really similar to row 15 that we just worked. You're going to start with a knit 1 and then purl 1, knit 1, just like we did, repeating the purl 1, knit 1 6 more times. Again, that's creating your seed stitch border on the other side. Then instead of knitting across, you're going to purl across. So that's what's creating this stockinette stitch. Purl all the way across until 15 stitches remain, knit 1, and then purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 until you get to the end, creating your seed stitch border on this end. And that you're going to repeat those 2 rows, row 15 and 16, until this section is as wide as you want it to be. In this example, we worked rows 15 and 16, repeating those 2 rows until we reached row 29. So if you want to duplicate this exactly, work until you've completed 29 rows total. Now we're going to switch to the 3rd color. Again, we're working the same border stitches to create the seed stitch border. So it's going to be the same. And then we're working knit stitches to create garter stitch. So on the row going this way and the row coming back, we're knitting all of these stitches. They're all just knitted, so it's very speedy and easy. And when you do that, it produces garter stitch. So you work that all the way across, and once again, seed stitch border. Let me explain to you the exact stitch sequence to accomplish this. To work the seed stitch border, which we've already done, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, repeat the purl 1, knit 1 6 more times. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 6 more times. I don't have enough stitches, of course. So then when you get to your center area of stitches, you're just going to knit, 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 knit. And you're going to do that until 14 stitches remain. Then purl 1, knit 1 until the end to create your seed stitch border on the end. Again, make sure you start doing the border when you have 14 stitches remaining. For the cream color here that you see, it was repeated until there were 43 rows total. So you repeat rows 30 and 31 over and over until you have 43 total rows. Then row 44, you're going to repeat row 30 one more time. So at this point, you should have worked all of this up till this point here. After that, it gets really simple. You just start over. You repeat the gray section, you repeat the green section, and then the cream over and over as many times as you like until the blanket is as long as you want it to be. To put it another way, you're repeating rows 1 through 44 over and over and over as many times as you like. One thing to keep in mind, we started with gray. If you want, just make sure that you end with the gray. That's up to you. You don't have to do that. Then you'll want to block your blanket to give it a nice, smooth, professional finish. If you don't know how to block, I have a video on that. You can look that up. It just involves soaking your item, pinning it into shape, and allowing it to air dry in the shape that you like. Now this one is about 30.5 inches square. You can make it whatever size you want though. Feel free to do that, or to vary the size of your stripes. You could do little stripes with bigger stripes or one solid color. It would still look awesome because you've got the different textures, so it makes it really cool. When binding off, make sure to use a stretchy bind off. There are different ones. I like Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. I have a video on that as well showing you how to do that. That way you don't end up with a tight, pinched up little edging. And you'll also want to, when you're done, weave in all your little tails that are going to be sticking out. Make sure to weave the green into the green and the cream into the cream, etc. Don't cross them over or it will be obvious. That is how you make this adorable little baby blanket. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, you can head over to expressionfiberarts.com. I have other free patterns available for you there, as well as all the supplies to make this blanket if you like. And please do check out my blog because we do big monthly yarn giveaways where we give away piles of yarn and sometimes books and other tools and goodies. So you'll want to go get signed up for that. Also, please subscribe to my channel if you want to. That way you don't miss out on future episodes. We have a lot of videos in store for you. And if you liked this blanket, please comment below and let me know. I always like to hear your feedback. Also, if you have any ideas for any future videos, I love to hear them and read through those, so please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. You have a great day, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.